Okay, and I notice coffee shop. Iran will soon be, it's, should be free. Until then, fight goes on, and then it's illegal. Nobody batted an eyelash when Obama and Biden were bombing people over the place. And the War Powers Act is blatantly unconstitutional. No one's bothered to challenge it yet. Anyway, we're going to attack these guys here. What were you doing? Even got fresh food for it. Let's break out one. There we go. We did do a little compare and contrast. We did, just look at the details of it. Make sure there's any difference in the fit. It's pretty easy to tell which one's when. And since I'm not lighting it, Daniel. Right. Since I'm not lighting these guys, and I can probably forego some of the chrome even. And I think these players need to worry about not painting and whatever. No, get it all together, and that way later when I get proper paint, I can paint it up. I think as much as the pain in the butt is that the cradle stand is for the 8 Enterprise, this one's worse. Kind of a scab. It's like bizarre. So I think we're gonna go. Let me do the original kit first. And you do it here. Let's see. So, now the new kit, the chrome is still in the bag. That's it. But I'll also turn this into, anybody has any questions, now's the chance. Me. Have to see about that. Let's see. Well, nobody's watching. Okay, so I'm just going to keep on going for now. That's just empty sprue. Oh, there's a piece. Good. Oh, whoops. There you go. There's not pieces. So, okay. We got directions here, which one is essentially a copy of the other. The only difference is a few details, like the clear parts, which this one doesn't have. Now, what's interesting is that the little thing that goes in the front of the boom here, on here is an antenna. I think the idea being to be the same as the big dish on the Enterprise. But somehow, someone figured, that's a gun I'm putting. Because on the original series itself, the weapons are on the nacelles. But in the animated series, generally when you started seeing stuff come out of the nose. I mean, first time was no trouble, no, more troubles, more troubles. And that was a stasis field. That made sense to come out of there because, part of the deflector system. So we're going to take a little organized here. With the main body. There. All right. Definitely don't need the engines right now. Right there. Again, I'm not worried about lighting it, so I think I'm probably going to go ahead and put the clear parts in. No reason to leave them uncovered. So, because the main kit, they're solid. So let's go ahead. Start with the head here. And the thing is, on this older kit, you got the little windows, engraved in there, or actually it's raised detail. Let's compare with the new one. The new one, still there. Yeah, they really didn't do much. They just slight modification on the existing molds. Need a knife. There's a knife. Trimble to flash. Waiting for someone to get in. Oh, 3 people watching. All right. Yeah. Let me go and bring the chat window on screen here. In case anyone's got any comments. Next, I think I am going to get that camera over here where you can see what's going on. Let's see. Come on. Get on. It's hung up on a TARDIS away. There we go. There we go. Now you see what's going on. You can see right on the front there. Now right here is where the sprue was. So yeah, there ultimately there'll be a little putty work here and there. A piece of sprue going bye-bye. Just a little bit here. I do have a second camera, but I can't get it to work. It's sitting on top of the second monitor. I can angle it down here. It'd be a great view if I can figure out how to get the thing working. I mean, it is an older camera, but still, there's no excuse. All right. So get the boom out of the way. need the top of the bridge dome. It's presumed to be the bridge dome. And they went ahead and confirmed that when they did the motion picture, started zooming in on it. Yep. Yeah, he's got some sharp edges on it. Pegs inside that's going to poke you. Yeah, I think this sucker has some edges on it. And it's got some flash on it. And some, very old school techniques here. You don't special tools or anything. No, just scrape the crap off with a knife the best you can. I'm going to go and leave this bit in there. I think the idea is kind of bust that open. It doesn't seem to interfere with anything. So let's see. The old time-tested orange tube of testers. Whoops. Thankfully, that glob is in an area that's not going to matter much. So. It's got some pegs in there, but there's no holes that correspond with it. Go. You got to kind of just slide it into position when the edges finally line up. Now, I've heard different things about, this design did not start off as a Star Trek ship necessarily. It was more an alien spaceship for another thing that Matt Jeffries was working with AMT. You might recall a little something earlier versions and repop called the Leif Erikson. But through most of its run was done in glow-in-the-dark plastic and called the Interplanetary UFO. It was marketed alongside the Star Trek kits, but kind of implications like, oh, is this part of it? No, it was never. God damn. We're gonna try this one. We got some stuff slipping out here. Fresh tube, things are a bit nuts here, so. Put it up there into the slot. Oops, come on. Oh, come on, you. You seriously? Not go in your hole. It's supposed to fit down in there. What the hell? Not worried about this being rough because it's going to be covered up by the boom. Let's see, this little hole here. And you think, look at the ridge there, should fit in there. But it's way too small. I don't want to go in. All right, well, going on the observation that is way too small, we're going to assume that we've been. Whoa, god damn. I'm going to watch it with a fresh tube. So we're going to figure, okay, it must sit right on top then. So let's get that on there. Let's see if that holds true with the new one. Yeah, apparently it just, notice there's a, here, come on, focus. It does not go into the hole. It's kind of set on there a bit, so. But make sure you get that up against there. It should line everything up. Yeah, let's just go ahead. One thing the old directions tended to show, let's see if they still got it here. That they, you see them, sticking the thing down in there. Unfortunately, someone wasn't paying attention, and they am sticking up like antenna. No, they go all the way in. Okay. And with anybody who actually, oh look, that's what? No, they got that wrong. Look on the damn box. Do you see them sticking out? No. There, glob there. Shove it on down there. See? Yeah, this is work on the right angle. Get that to there. Okay. Now we're going to get into why I prefer using this glue instead of the liquid cement, the instant, because sometimes you got to do this kind of thing. And with a new modern type of, let's seal it in seconds, never do, because sometimes you got to pull things apart. So now we got a reason to pull that crap out. Because it's blocking the peg going in right. One day I'll have a proper workspace where I won't be bumping into stuff. Now, one of the lovely things about a Klingon ship is you can get a little rough and texture stuff because, you know, once that's out of the way, it goes in right the way it should. Because where it's hitting right there, that's where one of the cross members was. And then it sticks a little bit past it, too. So, yeah. You got to take out the little crossbeam thing. Hey. Down here, around there. Yeah, I think they made this stuff around here. And then without that, goes right in. Right where it should be. And now we can put this thing back in position where apparently this was originally starting off as just an alien battlecruiser. It's sort of the adversary ship to go with the Leif Erikson thing. And they're working on a whole mythos to go with those. Thing is, it never went anywhere really. They got as far as just the Leif Erikson, and meanwhile, his day job on Star Trek, they needed a Klingon ship. We can't just keep showing a big blob of light far away in the distance. We need to actually show a ship. And so, the alien thing started getting refined. Became the Klingon battlecruiser. That's for the designation D-7. That was from what basically amounted to a mock argument that Shatner and Nimoy were having down on the set. The full-on screaming match. You're arguing over the difference between a D6 and a D7. About how, no, this has got 2 in its less than, no, you want the other way around. And it was getting so intense. They had called Roddenberry down to the set to get him to try and calm things down. Wait a minute, I should know this. Which one is that? Well, guys, look, it isn't important. Let's get back to working. And that's when it started laughing. Gene, we're just gonna make a point. We need to lighten up, okay? And I kind of got a point across. Yeah, you're right, guys. Okay, now we got these little guys here. Little washboard thing. Something, for some reason, when they reissued this kit in the 80s, they got and changed this into just a straight grill. It's like, what the hell are you people thinking? You have the molds, clearly, because you got the... What happened here? They did some very, very stupid things with these kits. I think in the course of trying to save money. So I think we got there's a little bit of a ridge, a little bit of a flat ridge thing on the thing here. And that goes up on the top here. So you want to make sure you got to orient it right. So and you want the angle of the things going back aiming towards the back. They're like, think of it like they're vents or something. Or I think the best way to do that is going to be do a line of glue here. What I got going over here, and so get that line there. That. Again, the original molding, there was a light up inside this thing. So all this would light up, and they got the windows there, so they light it out of that. Just ignore the fact that the actual effects model didn't have any lights. So when I should check it, because the first time anyone saw this design was outside of AMT and Matt Jeffrey, but was in the making of Star Trek, because it came out at the end of the second season, and inside was the Klingon Battlecruiser. And even then, they didn't call it anything; it was just Klingon Battlecruiser. Again, and the D-7, again, that was just an argument between Shatner and Nimoy that they made up just to blow off steam and get everyone to lighten the hell up. Okay, then we got this one. But from that argument, someone picked up on it in the fan thing. And that's where the designation D7 comes from. Whereas the Katinga class, which, if you do a quick, they're the same ship, really. There's some differences in, slight contours and, contour, and massing. But for the most part, it's essentially the same ship. That's something my buddy Brett and I came to looking over blueprints. Like, this is the same ship. This is just more detail. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get a little bit on here, a little bit on there, a little bit on there. All right. Get that away. Let's get that. And we're going to, whoops. That fits together pretty darn well. But yeah, the original model had a light in it. Could go along with the Enterprise could have the lights by then. In fact, I still need to do thing, but basically, the way I follow the sequence here, and it's like AMT is really no big roadmap on how the various versions came out, but the only figure is probably about 67 is when the big hint though is the fact that the photo cover art, the box art on the thing is a picture of the Enterprise with the lighted nacelle caps. So obviously, when they went to that version of the long box, they had to have the lights in there because that's what they're advertising. But they kept that artwork for 20 some years, even though apparently the lights went bye-bye rather quickly. Once, the way I figured, apparently it's once the show was canceled, I think they figured, okay, well, probably lesser demand now for this model now the show's been canceled. So, but it's still selling well. So we're just going to cut back on a few things to save some bucks. Mainly getting rid of the lights. So I think, and they didn't really change the box much through the years. But the one thing that, if you got a long box and it says as seen on NBC TV, you got lights probably. If that spot where it normally said that is now just a blank, blank square or blank rectangle. That one, I think, no lights. And probably when they start doing that stupid cradle, like especially they build the entire fleet and they list all the names. By then the lights are long gone. They've gone to that inaccurate decal sheet and changed up the stand. This has got some serious flash on it. No, you don't see this much on. I think that's sprue though. That's one thing. The older kits, I never see not a flash on the older kits. It's even a little better on that sort of thing. That's a sharp little spur. That's why I'm focusing on it. Now, as for when they switched from that, well, let me show you. When they switched to this kind with a little half moon piece in there and this slots into it, this one was pretty much the last of the long box issues and then going into the smaller box. Again, that one, it's luck of the draw if you're trying to figure out which one you got of that. Because again, they didn't change the catalog number. Now, by the time Ertl took over, they had already changed the molds, so that now it's like the only thing they improved was the way the nacelle slot into the hull. Everything else, like for some reason, they still have the dimple. No one has ever really come up with an actual explanation of why those dimples are on the underside of that saucer. You can only figure some kind of technical thing to do with the mold. Ejection port or something. Because otherwise, they're not in the detail. It's not on any blueprints. It's just there on the model. And no one knows why. It'd really be fun if by some minor miracle they didn't trash the Constellation model. Somebody held on to it and it turns up. I can finally get a look at that baby. That would be fun to get a real good, because they never saw the underside of the saucer on that thing or some of the details. We saw enough that, they painted it, they put all the decals on it. Okay, I'm going to need the chrome here. Going to need this sucker here. Nope, there we go. Falls right off. I think that needs a little trim. And I don't know, see if we can see it in there. Look, right down in there, there is a little bit of a spire, which kind of goes into it being more of a antenna or deflector housing type of thing. Or that's a stopper, who knows. But this thing is supposed to go, just kind of pokes out just a little. This is always a pain in the butt. That's where that spur is going to be a major obstacle right there. Let's see. There's also things you got to scrape the chrome off the thing. Better if they hadn't chromed it, frankly. Let the chrome parts make it look cool. Huh. It's white plastic underneath this. Now, one good thing is there is a ridge there, so it'll catch blade when you're scraping it. So if you're careful, you won't scrape away any of the chrome on the outside if you want to keep it. But yeah, white plastic underneath that. At least this one is. Throughout the history of this kit, you're tell very weird colored kits, especially the Klingon one. Because at one point, again, it's a cost saving thing. They were just whatever plastic they had. They were just throwing it in the molds. As a result, they're a pink, they're Klingons with pink, green, whatever, swirly type thing. It's all kind of weird. Or just people were just blaming on being the 60s. Okay. All right. Yeah, and a little too much came out, so I'm just going to use the tube itself to spread it around a bit. And then you want it sticking out just a little bit. As we're trying to get it straight. That is going to be a bit of a task. So what we're going to do here is get it so it'll at least sit for a bit when I get the other side correct. Because even this one's got some swirly stuff in it, And then take it. And whoop. As long as you're doing that, you're doing the whole thing together. So that's some of the pegs here. And bring them all together. Two of these coming together should take care of that little dinger. Whoops. Here's where you really need some kind of clamp, which I didn't bother to do ahead of time. Let's make sure that make sure I get it in the camera here. Now, actually, with the opening there, you can still kind of get in there and poke it a bit with something. If things are a bit off, but if you got it done right, it really shouldn't need much. And the big thing is to scrape the chrome away from the parts that's going to get glued. Make sure everything is lined up right, because again, that part is going to be a problem if you don't have it lined up right. And the underside here is this one. You go a little bit goofy. Not too much, because part of the way this stuff works is it does melt the plastic a bit. So you get a weld. But that's fine. That right under there. Fortunately, this one, the pin is messed up on there. So that's going to be a pain in the butt. Yeah, it's completely off. So we're going to do a little surgery here. The back pin is fine. The front one is totally messed up. I don't recall this defect before. Let's see if I can. Damn it. Shines. Where? Oh. There we go. Yes. As always, I cut myself real bad one time. It was probably 7. That's still good. Again, the nature of capillaries close to the surface, a lot of them. So when you bleed, it looks like a lot. Yeah, the back pin is fine. Front pin was totally cockeyed, so get that part right there. Yep. That should help. And I'm sure one thing that a lot of kids made sure they get up was the Star Trek poster book. I think it's number 10, where they have the Enterprise being shown up, at the Smithsonian, but also a little section on the Klingon ship with a lot of close-up pictures. For that, everyone needs to go thank Doug Drexler for doing, because he was publishing that back in the day. Him and his partner, who were doing the Federation Trading Post. Wish the hell I could have gotten to that store. Okay. So we got that. And that all seems to be right. That's as right as that's going to be. No. And we can go ahead and it's still got the holes on here for the wires for the lights. Take this. I got a little slot right there, which lines up with that. Whoop! Shit. Make sure you don't stick your finger where the center thing is. Again, why I prefer working with this old-fashioned airplane glue, as they called it back in the day. So you can go in and correct little fuck-ups like this. Yeah, clearly this is going to be a pain. Come on. There we go. Come on. Oh, Lord. One thing of reliving your childhood is reliving why this kit was always a pain in the butt in the first place. So, got the thing painted off. So we can do a little thing here. There, instead of trying to be cute. Like that. Damn it. And that's why a lot of these kits, it's like if the thing's there, it's in there. it's not really sticking out much, or it's sticking way out. Again, the beauty of a Klingon ship is like all this glue thing. You can call it battle. You can dress it up and call it battle damage. Try this again. There we go. Once it's there, it's there. Problem is, glue is dried too much, so it's not going to take. So, and we're going to do a little. Try and line it up here. Too far back. There we go. I think. Okay. It's snug. It ain't shipped around, so I think that's probably it. And there we go. As far as this being authentic, it's an authentic mid-70s build, okay? That's the way it would have come out if I were doing it back then. The way I did do it back then. And so there we go. We got the boom. Okay. Yeah. One thing I'm not going to do is because the actual paint scheme on the model, which they detailed, the upper surfaces were kind of a purplish gray, and underneath was kind of a greenish gray type thing. Thing is, the way it came out on screen, it was the same gray as the Enterprise, pretty much. Just going to do gray. Maybe it's light, but for the Klingon thing, but the gray thing is going to. I think the reason why it had that kind of bizarre green purple thing, was to separate it from the blue screen. Because by then, the original Enterprise, they were trying a black background thing and just trying to generate the map that way. Same thing. They did the same thing in the motion picture, but by then effects had advanced quite a bit, so they did a much better job of it than 1964. It was still kind of experimental. They were trying to cut a corner here and there, and it didn't quite work. So second pilot is when they started doing the blue screen. Thing is, gray is a funny color because it pretty much absorbs whatever color is around it. That's why there's so much debate about, whoa, this is kind of a decade blue, because it's in front of a blue screen. It picks up on the blue. And that's also why you got certain, parts of the ship kind of fade out a bit, a distance, and they go, oh, there's a strut. Because at a distance, they sell, it's just absorbing, blending in with the blue screen. And I think that the upper surface is kind of a greenish lacquer finish to it. I think that was an attempt to try and counter some of it, get it to separate out. And unfortunately, that model's been repainted so many times over the years Not, can't really be sure if the rest of the ship have. Although what we do have, evidence that doesn't look like it. Yeah, but I think, but by the time they got to the Klingon ship, like, no, we're doing blue screen, so time to get a little creative. And so they did this kind of weird greenish purple thing so it would stand out better against the blue screen. And then when you process it, the color correctors just make it look great. I think if you look at it, the markings or the Klingon trifle is a little bit washed out, and I think that's the color correctors desaturating things so it looks a little gray. But I think with the differences between this and the way it was actually on screen, and then the motion picture version, which we first get the term Katinga from the novelization from Roddenberry. I'd argue that because we're only talking like a few years removed from the original series, in universe wise. I would argue that no, D-7, that was a Federation designation. The Klingons always called it the Katinga. And it's only later when we started calling it the same thing. Oh, wait a minute. Do the shrub too. Like the MiG-25, we call it the Foxbat. That's not what the Russians called it. I don't know what they called it, but they, if they even gave it names, I don't know if they did that back then. But we're the ones that started, hung the name Foxbat on it. And fought, fighters got something to start with. Bombers got something because the backfire bomber, the bear bomber. Again, they didn't call them that. I mean, our knowledge, we call them that. That's what I think it's the same thing with here. With they didn't call it the D-7. We called it the D-7. They called it the Katinga. The thing is, what we got model-wise, this was what should have been the finished version. Hey, Raquel. I can send you a link. You want to come on? I'm not just talking to myself. For consistency, do the other engine. Is it? My model builds are basic. This is how your average 12-year-old is going to build your model. So, get the headphones up here. Partially in case she comes on, but also partially so I can get them out of the way. No. Okay, hold on. Put this knife away here. Copy that. Yeah, put it in your DMs and X here. Gotta find you first. There we are. Here we go. And we'll just shoot up here. Okay. Someone's pointed out this whole thing with, busting up Iran and, finally freeing them. It's happened right around the Jewish holiday of Purim. Let's just say Israel has extra reason to party. As do the Iranians. Did anybody say him? Oh. There we go.
Hello.
Okay.
So are you building a kit?
Yeah, but the other, I was going to do both of them, but it's like one, I waited too damn long to start the stream, so we'll do the new version later, another stream. Yeah, I'm surprised the amount of flash on this old kit, though. I usually don't see this much flash on an old kit. This one, yeah. Because I've tried, model builds of like this is, just average, I mean, yeah, I've entered a contest or two at conventions, and I've got a few prizes here and there, but
nice.
But I don't, But this isn't the thing where you break out the $3,000 3D printer and make it we're going to fix this person. The same set of skills your average 12-year-old can master. Not the $30 specialized hoppy knife. No, simple pocket knife. Probably use a butter knife for some of these cases. Kind of go into a little bit of the history here, and I think the same thing with the Enterprise is when the show is canceled, out go the light. Out comes the lights, or light really is like one light bulb in the boom. Fill in the part of the mold where there's a hole for a switch. There we go. I should be getting clamps. I got one of the ribbon. But yeah, typical, you know. And also, beauty of a Klingon ship. Yeah, there's going to be some scars on there from the glue that got smudged around and thing. They're just going to call it battle damage. Klingon ships can be a little dirty.
Mm.
But I guess one nice with the Katinga class or the later ships, you can just be sloppy as all hell. Paint on the details. This is the one that's a pain in the butt because it's so clean. Yeah, there. What? Why, you got a hot date? Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm not having any noise on here, so I'll be able to hear you. Okay. I'm not playing the game or anything, so
No,
don't worry
it,
about it again.
it's too quiet of a night, I guess.
Yeah, I do need to get on later for general purposes. But let's see now to bring in the main hull. Again, this version you got the little grill thing version here. You got the little. Let me turn it that way so you can see it. It's kind of washboard detail in here.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't on the filming miniature. Neither of those. I'm thinking what which apparently what happened. They needed the model a little early because they were running behind. So they made two of them. I think they only ever used one, but they had two of them and sent it off as mostly finished. They didn't have those two details on there and a few other things. So I rationalized it in universe as that's an earlier version. This is the later version.
All right.
Like we can call it, the one we saw on screen was the D-7A. This would be the D-7B. And in part of the rationalization of they're all Katinga, what we saw in the movie was the D-7C. So, but also we found out they're actually called Katinga classes. Okay, well we'll stop doing D this. You ever dig up an old Starfleet battles manual? The Klingons they got up to D10. These ships are getting ridiculously large. And kind of the thing of don't get too married to your fan canon because then the movies and the shows come along and contradict everything. So it's like, yeah, some of this flash I'm not going to worry about, but some of it's going to interfere with the fit. So. I got to deal with some of it here. So how's it been going on your end?
Oh, good. Just trying to get myself tired.
Hmm. All right. I'm with some of these poor schlubs. Oh, it must be screen accurate. Okay, then you're going to sand off all this and get rid of those top details. And actually wind up with a plainer looking model. It's like, man, live a little. Bits where they come off the sprue. That's the toughest part right there. Yeah, there will probably be some putty work at some point. Tough little spur here on a very thin piece of thing. I don't want to break the fucker. Oh, I did get the Grace Ashcroft skin in Fortnite.
Oh, cool.
She's cute. And she kind of what I was hoping for when I first bought the first skin. I forget what the name is, but it's a kind of a default one, the blonde, but sunglasses and a bandana over her face. It's like I can't lose the bandana. So this is probably close to what I was wanting way back when. And there's a case probably good that we don't have a cat right now because all those little plastic shavings I'm building up here. That's what I'm doing here. I'm surprised the amount of flash on this thing. These older cuts are generally better about that sort of thing. All right. So, test fit this. No idea how it's going to go. Ain't done yet. Come on. God, this is bad. Then I figure out a better camera angle to put this thing on for these type of things. Back up here, you. Hold on. Let's try putting it right over here. Okay, that might work. I forgot to put the banner up. Hold on. There we go. Always promote things. I mean, one day when I got a little space to work with, I will finish up on that 1350 Enterprise I got back there. But that one does require a little more specialized. You can't just, throw it together like it would, the old one of these old kits back here. That does require a certain higher, attention to detail and stuff. Oh, my back. All right. Come on. There we go. So let's see. I think probably best on the edges here. So the old thing of, Grandpa, how did you build models back in the day? This is it right here, son. We didn't have all these fancy rigs and stuff. We just run the tube of glue along the line, put it down, and maybe get a couple of clothespins. Which I have somewhere around here. And I might have one of these somewhere with the lights. Yes. Clamp this down until the glue does its magic little welding thing. But yeah, originally I think the switch was right about here on the old thing. Batteries going right in here. It's like you took the thing out, you change it. And the wires are run through here, through the boom and to the little grain of wheat light bulb in there and lit up. I'm going to get the engines on this thing. You kind of go to think, okay, what's the least likely to have the glue oozing out? And I figure put it on in this here. That way, this thing is just pushing it in. Sometimes you didn't realize it. Yeah, they're supposed to be angled in a bit. Okay. Because you initially think it's supposed to be straight down. No. Part of making it look like a bit of a predator to them. This were the easier parts of it, but yeah. Yeah. But when they're right, they do angling just a touch. Yeah. Make it look a little like a bird, or, like some kind of bird of prey swooping in. And then I don't know if I want to attach this just yet.
Hmm.
I think I do want to. I probably should have done more work on the hull first, but so we got this back part here that I got put together. Next, I might need to refer to the directions. Since, let's be honest, I haven't built one of these in about 30 years.
It's a long time.
Yeah. And aside from that bit on the nose, I'm not going to bother with the chrome parts right now. Okay, I think probably want to do. Oops. Nothing in particular. All right. I'm gonna definitely helps is the fact the old model here is in gray, the new one's blue. So because it's the same mold, we just changed a few details. So it would not take much to mix and match pieces. Okay, this is. Get those spurs down a bit. And a bit of flash. Good grief. Who the hell was on quality control this day? Good grief. All right. There's a chrome piece that goes right in behind her, and I'm not gonna fully attach everything. Let's see. Oh, this little bit here that goes on the underside of what? You ain't in there yet.
Well, I'm still gonna need you.
Then we'll deal with it when you do, Bean. We'll get in there. Oh, let's see, right then. Likewise, dear.
Oh.
These.
Oh.
And I'm not going to worry about that. This is. We're going to plug a hole in this like you leave your hanging from the string. The thing is, it still has some of the same parts on the new molds. In fact, on the chrome, there's some parts on there that are not part of the assembly. Kind of how I think the new molds of the Enterprise kit still has the old kit, the old stand included in there on the sprue, even though it's set up to take the new dome stand they give them all. In a way, it's kind of showing yes, they still have the old molds, some version of them. What I'd like to know is if they have the original molds of the Enterprise, which, while they had their problems, they were more accurate than what they did in the mid-70s. Okay, so let's see this part. Now these guys, yeah, okay, that's how that goes together. Yeah, that's how that goes on there.
Ow.
Is your
Yeah.
wife okay?
Yeah, she's getting herself in position. That. Yeah. Fortunately, this part's going to be covered up. Okay, that's another bit. This part is never, it's underneath all this, so you never see this part. But it's part of the structure. Yeah. Come on, get in there. Ow. Let those little bits fit together. Oh, let's see. So, all right, let's.
Bob,
What?
I'm in here now.
Yes, you are. Now, hold on a minute.
I told you I need help.
All right, I'll be in a second here. Hold on. All right. That go like that. No. Back in a second here. No. Oh, I think I'll just be back in a second here.
Hope the wifey's okay?
Okay.
Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine. Okay, we'll put the top on this one. Yeah, this is not bad. Of course.
Ow! 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 Ow!
Okay.
Fuck.
Let's see. Nope. Out of the way. There we go. Like that.
Ow! Damn it. Ow! Ow!
You know you can be heard.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to something in the back, asshole.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
Okay.
Is she trying to sit crisscross applesauce on her chair? Or what?
I don't know what she's doing in there. You're trying to get the stuff on the shelving unit behind her, and just like a bit of the pain in the butt in normal circumstances. Okay, so that goes, and might as well put the end on this here. It's pretty clean. I think we'll do it on this one. Like I said, I didn't avoid like the high-tech super liquid cement thing. Little bond instantly. Yeah, and the thing is, sometimes you got to pull it apart rather quickly, which I've already had to do a couple times. In that situation, you don't want the super reactive, glue, where you get an instant bond that's like, good luck pulling it apart without going major surgery.
I did it like a gaming test today.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's called this site is called Lightstream,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a site that you can multi-stream from your console.
Mm.
So it is not a PC kind of thing. It's just a website.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I tried that,
Mm-hmm.
and so far it worked good. I need to fix my game source screen because
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit off.
Okay.
So I need to fix that.
Hmm.
And I might have to fix the audio too.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes, like, when I'm speaking, it kind of cuts out a little bit for a few seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
I
mine
need
whole
to,
thing
like,
cuts off, because while we're in the process of getting into the game, I liken it to sort of the ionization blackout while during reentry, like an Apollo. It's like, give it a second. We'll reestablish communication soon, and then get in the game. It's like chat has gone out. So okay,
yeah, so I
so
want
that's
to
how
do
we're doing it. Yeah.
I'm gonna do some more testing tomorrow,
Oh, okay.
or like later on today.
Mm-hmm. Now I might do a more refined approach on the new model. I don't know. This is kind of getting back into the swing of things. Doing it very old school. Actually, I might as well. It don't really matters which way this is going back in. But it's like another thing on this old thing. You got a couple little chrome pieces to go on either side of the nacelles here. The newer one, the actual that's made it to make like the actual shooting miniature, they don't have these, but they are in the kit. It's still in the parts are still in the kit. So yeah, that's a holdover.
There are some kits that I want to build. Like they're like anime stuff, like Dragon Ball.
Yeah. When I was at Hobby Lobby, I looked at some Gundam stuff. I thought,
I haven't built like a bit of actual one Mobile Suit Gundam kit.
I never got into Gundam, so like never really.
Sashi, he's usually in the chat of my streams.
Yeah.
He said that there's a Hero 6 model kit. I saw the video that he sent me.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. Apparently, he said that the Hero 6 and Star Wars model kits didn't really sell well in US and Europe.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's a shame.
Yeah.
The two, I already have like Sheeta and Saiyan Space Pod model kit, but then I wanted to get Trunks with the Time Machine model kit. And there's like some One Piece pirate ships that I want to build.
Yeah.
Like one of them uses like a Gundam marker to like paint the ropes of the sails.
The only kits I recognize was one of a couple of Optimus Primes, and then it's like there's a Destro. Or Megatron, rather. And frankly, the only reason I'd want Megatron is because his base is transformed form is the old special Uncle gun from the Man from Uncle.
Oh yeah, I heard that he transforms into a gun and stuff like that.
The thing is, if you look at the original Japanese kits, he's identified as Uncle. They know exactly what they were doing. That modified P-38, Walther P-38 from the Man from Uncle.
Oh yeah, that's that Lupin the Third's favorite gun, Walther P-38.
Yeah. Okay. This one's gonna be a bit of a pain. No, you don't. Get back there. Well, Bond was a Walther PPK. Same company, but different model. All right. I've got examples, but they're all in storage. Scattered around. The one I've dug up is Germans make very good cap guns. That one, the P99, which is the one they got from Tomorrow Never Dies. That didn't catch on. They got him back on the PPK. Okay, hold on. When in doubt, refer to the box art. Let's see. They got it pretty high up there. Okay. I suppose. Ow. Let me pull up a picture here.
There's some, there's a Lego kit that I have. I want to do eventually soon. The Steamboat Lily with Mickey Mouse,
Oh,
Minnie Mouse.
yeah.
Got some crystal puzzles about of Snoopy and Pikachu.
Yeah, that is pretty high up there. Huh? Yeah, that's the colors they painted the actual model, but I'm convinced that was to separate from the blue screen. That was not, because on screen it looked all gray. Let me find another one here. Okay, yeah, okay. Hold on. I'm going to do that. Okay. Almost closed down the entire chat. All right. Mount this sucker up a little high. Might as well do them both. Come on, do it. Get on there, you piece of crap. So how did you build them back in the day? Badly. That's how we built them back in the day. Part of why we didn't feel bad about turning them into wreckage later on. We wanted to make a little home movies on the family Super 8 camera. In a way, it was kind of a rite of passage when you took that Enterprise model that you didn't quite do right, and you replace it with a new one, you turn the old one into the constellation. Try it straight. Like I said, in the original configuration, the batteries would be right in here in a little tray. And this would just sit on top of there. That's why, it sits around there right nice and firmly. So you can just pop it off, change the batteries. Yeah, that looks about right. But, of course, that happens. No, that was a little pin there. Actually, even going forward. Okay. And I suppose moment of truth time. Attach the neck. All right, come on. And again, doing these is like cures you of any feelings of nostalgia. I was thinking, really, you've forgotten what a pain in the butt this kit was back in the day. But yeah, in this kit, okay, this one I think it came out pretty good here. So look straight. The only difference is, I think back in the day, this thing would be bound up in masking tape right now to keep everything straight so I can go watch TV. So, everything looks like it's on here straight. I think. Focus. Yeah. You got the two little lips, right? Ledges there to line it all up. And I master a bit of a claw grip right there. It is back on there. And again, I'm not going to bother with most of the chrome parts until later, because I don't necessarily want to paint the chrome parts. But here we go. And so in the course of about 2 hours, bingo, one Klingon D-7. I figure how to set this. Don't want to glue that on just yet. Figure out how to get this so that neck will stay in place. Come on. There we go. One of the things you learn back in the old days of how to rig up some kind of little setting. Get it, so everything is down a little bit, but it's resting there, so it'll dry straight. I'm just gonna leave it there. Ow! I can get up without killing myself. Get those back in place. Damn it. That looks about right. Okay. Oh. Alrighty, I'll put the glue in there. Get that ready for the next one. There we go. And I might as well put the knife in there too. But again, Iran will be free very soon. It's in the process now. Put that back over there because I'm blocking things. Oh. And I think we'll just call it right about there. So
Sounds good to me.
all right. Anything else you want to share with the crowd?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Oh.
Soda?
Yeah. My last cold Coke before I restock the fridge. Where is everyone watching from here? We got 4 viewers watching. 3 people on X, 1 on YouTube. I think the one is you. If you're still on there.
It's probably me.
Yeah, something. Oh, now it's down to 3. Which would be you dropping off. Okay, well, we'll see what this does in the rerun crowd. So, but that's how an old Klingon ship goes together. We'll compare it with how the new one will go on another time. I don't. As late as it is, it's already 2 hours. If we can get a good crowd going, sometimes great. But I just want to get this in the can. So with that, and probably do a Fortnite stream soon. But anyway, we'll talk at you later.